Coach Jake, appreciate the time. We'll start with opening thoughts on the game from each of you and then take questions.
Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, pretty disappointing with the result and, how we kind of came off the break there. And we definitely didn't put our best foot forward today. And, got a tough one next couple of weeks here, and we got to bounce back.
Look, we played hard. We didn't play well, but we played hard. We competed. I think the 3 weeks off shows. And, I thought that they played very well. We had chances to we had chances early on, and we didn't get to McNaney, and he's obviously a talented young kid, and he played very well. I felt like they took advantage of all their opportunities. They shot the ball very well. Neal and Kavanaugh were both, as advertised tonight. I think we look like we hadn't played in 3 weeks. A lot of turnovers, decision-making, and spacing. Now, our backs are truly against the wall, but, we play everyone on our side again this year, and we'll regroup, we'll talk about it, we'll look at it, and we'll get better, and we'll make a run at this thing before it's over.
Jake, obviously not the result that you guys were looking for, but what was the experience like playing against your brother at the professional level tonight?
Yeah, it was cool. Wasn't trying to make it a bigger deal than it actually was, other than this is the second time that we've been on the field all together at one time. And, it's definitely special in that regard. And for our family to be able to see us all do this, and especially as, Jesse and I are getting to the tail ends of our career. And, never, was sure if this was ever going to, come together. But, it was definitely a cool opportunity. And I'm sure down the road we'll look back and realize, how special it was. But, right now just kind of focusing on the team and, trying to take the next steps forwards.
Questions on Zoom? Kyle?
Yeah, for Coach tonight, Brennan O'Neill still managed to record 6 points, but Matt Dunn gave him a hell of a fight. Can you just talk about kind of the dynamic of that matchup and seeing how well Matt had in moments defending Brennan and just the tall task that you guys have trying to defend a force like Brennan O'Neill?
Yeah, you're looking at two of the best players in the world in their positions. And, honestly, I felt like a couple of the times that O'Neill was able to score. I didn't think Matt was in a bad position. I just thought that he shot the ball really well tonight. Everything was on the pipes. And I thought, again, I got to look at the film, but, I thought Emmett did a pretty good job. We probably gave them too many opportunities based off of, turnovers and in playing, hurrying on offense. But, again, two really talented guys going at it. And, I think, they each got theirs tonight, but Brendan certainly shot the ball extremely well. And, that's a tough one. You can be in the right position doing the right thing, but if someone's going to sting the pipes and in the corners like he did today, it's a tough matchup anyways.
Miles?
Coach, you had a 20-day break from your last game against the Chaos to now today, so there might have been a little bit of rust in there. But can you just talk about the difference between what you saw against your guys playing against Carolina versus what you saw on the field tonight?
I think you just hit the nail on the head. We looked like we hadn't played in 3 weeks. We were a little bit out of sorts. Our spacing was off. We hurried. We didn't, kind of didn't have the discipline in the off-ball movement that we had in the Carolina game. And again, 3 weeks off at this level is a long time. And, we'll continue to talk, but you can ask the guys to do all kinds of things during these 3 weeks. It's just not easy to replicate what a game is going to look like. I'm not making any excuses, but, we're certainly a lot better than what we showed tonight. And, it looked like, we were having trouble adjusting to the pace and the speed of the game.
Kyle?
Yeah, for Jake, as a captain on this team and, kind of just going through the ups and downs that you guys have this season, is there anything in particular that, you convey as a message as a leader on the team and as a longtime Whipsnake to kind of keep guys level-headed and kind of keep the boat not rocking as much?
Yeah, there's still a lot of lacrosse to play, and we have a lot of meaningful games right in front of us with conference and, the division. And, we're still in this thing. It's definitely not over. And this is kind of, professional lacrosse, and this is how it goes for every team, the ups and downs. And as we've talked as a group, like, we can't get emotionally too high and we can't get emotionally too low, and we just have to come ready to go and look back from the game and live and learn and get ready to move on, because next week and the week after, those are huge for us, having to go back into the conference play. So, there's really no secret. We have to just get back to doing what we do and, just make sure that we're ready to go.
Miles?
Coach, preseason when I talked to Rob, he mentioned that he would be willing to run out of the box, and we saw that a little bit from him tonight. Will we see that a little bit more in the future, maybe with Brandow down at attack, or is that just kind of a play-by-ear sort of thing?
We weren't winning matchups, and we felt like Brandow gave us a little better, a little younger legs, a little more speed, running against that matchup. Thought we could get Rob on a short stick a little bit. We got to look at it. It's there's a bunch of turnovers in that first half too that I felt like were uncharacteristic. So we got to look at the film, and we certainly have to get better down there, because honestly, towards the end of that game, before the last couple goals, holding them to the number we held them to, we should be able to be a little bit more competitive from the offensive end.
And then just one follow-up. On the broadcast, we heard you talk about just playing simple lacrosse. Can you describe, just in your words, what simple lacrosse looks like to you?
Simple lacrosse to me looks like dodging, drawing a double team, and moving the ball twice.
Any other questions?
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, Saturday night lacrosse game, pretty packed stadium for you guys, even in the night game. Didn't get over till past 10. What do you think it says that in a city like Chicago that hasn't had a PLL presence for so long, that the crowd was still as packed as it was and as raucous as it was throughout the day?
I've spent a bunch of time out here over the last 3 weeks. Some of it lacrosse related, other responsibilities I have. It's a pretty good lacrosse town, city. There's a lot of lacrosse played here. All these young kids. I don't know that you need a franchise in order to draw crowds like this. I think they were excited to see it. I've heard it over the last 3 weeks that I was in and out of town, how excited people were to see the level of play and to see these guys. I think it's we showed up in some areas that you would consider non-traditional. I think this is there's a lot more going on here than people realized. And we've always, I think we do a great job of drawing crowds in these places where they don't get to see this kind of lacrosse consistently. So no surprise, honestly, based on what I've been hearing the last few weeks. And, they were great and they were engaged, and it was nice to play in front of them. I just wish that we were a little bit more on our game than we were tonight.
Yeah, and I'll just second Coach. I just want to thank the fans for coming out. I mean, that was an unbelievable environment, and I think the league hit the nail on the head by putting us in this location and this venue. And, it's not like this all the time, and I think that just makes us, feel really special when you are playing, and just speaks to the growth of the game, and especially in a state like Illinois and, in the Chicago area, and, especially for professional lacrosse. So I just want to thank them for coming out, because it means a lot to the players and the league. And, we don't get a chance to say that very often to the fans when they're coming out to support us. So I think that's important to make that known.
Yeah, look, despite the outcome, it was a great experience. It was an amazing experience. So we just got to get better as a team.
Last question, Miles?
Sorry, that was a mistake, Coach. Didn't mean to have my hand up.
Thank you both. Appreciate the time.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Pat, Logan, congrats on the win. We'll start with opening thoughts from each of you and then take questions.
It was a crazy game. Kind of felt like coming off the bye week that it was going to be a little sloppy anyway early, and we were right. The pregame warm-up was in an indoor facility, and then we went outside. Everything was just a little thrown off, and I think we felt it in the locker room, and I think they felt it too. So I think we weathered the storm. Logan made some really nice saves, or else we would have been down 3-0, I think, early. And, I think we talked at halftime that it's important to answer when they score because they like to go on runs, and we did it. Every time they scored, we answered back, and we were able to increase the lead a little bit. But that's a very good team, and we just did a great job defensively of stepping out on their big guys that have range shooters and all the way to the end of the game. And Logan stood on his head, and the rest is history.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It was definitely a weird warm-up situation, and we were a little sloppy during our warm-up, so came out a little sluggish. I think both sides was a little sloppy, a lot of turnovers early. Guys dropping a lot of passes. Logan played out of his mind the entire night, especially early on. That was huge to keep us in the game. They were getting a lot of great looks. He was keeping us in there, which is awesome. And then offensively, it kind of felt like they were pressing out adjacently, not really letting us work the ball around as much as we have the past few weeks. So they were kind of daring us to beat our matchup, and we did that. And yeah, we ended up moving the ball a little bit better in the second half, and shots started falling. Carroll played awesome as well. It was kind of a goalie duel for a while there, and then our shots started going, and things started opening up, and we got a lot of great looks. And our theme the entire year has just been how well we've been in the middle of the field. Transition, Jake Pacino is incredible. I don't think he gets enough credit throughout the league. He's unbelievable, some of the plays he makes off the ground and taking the ball away. So I thought he had an incredible game as well. And Geddes got one as well, too. He's been due for one, and our transition game just keeps being lethal every week.
He had a different gear tonight.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just proud of the guys. Like, coming off a bye week, you start off slow, but as we kind of settled in, guys were playing their butts off and all over the field, picking up ground balls, making tough plays, and then, Emmett obviously played really well, and, the offensive guys were getting great looks, but, weren't canning them early, and then we still kept getting good looks, and we started canning them. Defensively, I always give them props. Every game they give me shots that I can see. Sometimes you have to steal a couple, but that's the nature of the sport sometimes. But just really proud of the guys and the effort they put in, and that's kind of, for us, that's very important. That's a big thing. That's a big theme we try to do every week. Is we're gonna play our butts off. Obviously play smart, but again, just proud of the guys for giving their full effort.
Pat, with you guys not getting scoring until final moments in the first quarter, and of course Logan standing on his head in goal, how crucial was just the patience for you guys on the attacking end today?
Yeah, we were getting good looks the entire quarter. It's just shots weren't falling for us. I mean, they have an unbelievable goalie as well. We have one, and like I said, it was kind of that goalie battle early on in the game, and we were still happy with the looks we were getting. It was just a matter of time before they started falling, and we kept peppering him, and I think we were shooting a lot of shots high early in the game, and then we started throwing some low at his feet, and they started working. So, yeah, I mean, we have so much talent on our offense, and it's just only a matter of time before things start clicking throughout the game.
Coach, I mean, 15 saves, upwards of 70% from Logan today. I mean, just, of course, you sort of touched on your opening statement, but just how remarkable was the performance from him today?
The saves, I'm getting used to that. That's been pretty cool. But, what impresses me is him picking off passes and running out to the corner and getting loose balls. And, his IQ is super high. And, and he's standing. We find ourselves as a staff, like looking at each other when he makes a save. Like, he just makes it look easy. It's incredible.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
This can be for any of you. We talked about the slow start to the offense and Logan
water.
standing on his head in goal, but the defense played with its hair on fire most of the game, forcing 25 turnovers. How key is that, especially in a game where, as we've talked about, the offense was a little slow to get going?
You're talking to me.
Any of you, I guess. Yeah.
They're incredible. Like, the IQ level down at our defensive end is very high. We make adjustments almost every time there's a break. You know, you got a guy like Jesse Bernhardt out there, Mike Manley with his years in this league, and just the experience itself lends itself to, and they're all really capable. So I think, you know, we've relied on them as good as our offense is. Like, we're not winning games if they're not productive, and they've been productive both scoring in transition and just locking down on defense. So we're proud of those guys. It's a great group, and, you know, I think it's, you know, anytime you have 25 turnovers on the other, you know, on the other side of the ball, it helps you win games, and, you know, they do a great job picking passes off, getting the ball on the ground. Pisano is crazy all over the field, knocking balls out of sticks and picking passes off, and did a really good job. So.
Questions on Zoom? Topher?
Hey, Pat, Brennan had his biggest game of the season with 6 points. What was it like playing with him tonight and seeing him finally kind of put up the points to match the way he's been playing this season?
Yeah, I think he was leading the league in shots going into this game, so he's been getting great looks, and I kind of said it just about our offense as a whole. It's just a matter of time before shots start falling, and Brennan's one of the most talented players in the world. He's incredibly skilled, just so physically gifted, and he's pretty much unguardable. So it's just a matter of time before his shots started falling. So, yeah, it was awesome to see. We've just been telling him to keep shooting, and he gets his shots off whenever he wants. So, yeah, he played great, and I thought our offense was very poised and not really rushing for the first look. And, yeah, Brennan was just getting his looks, and shots finally started falling. He had a couple unbelievable looks, too. The one on man up to Jared was awesome, and then the one he skipped through to Justin, I don't know how he saw him there. So, yeah, he's just, like I said, one of the most talented players in the sport right now. So, yeah, I think he's going to be fine getting his. But at the same time, he's so unselfish. That's what I like most about Brennan. I think I said it in San Diego press conference. He's just a humble superstar. So, yeah, it's awesome playing with him.
Kyle?
Yeah, for Pat, you know, another hat trick for you tonight, but pregame when you walk into the locker room and see your last name on that throwback Denver Outlaws jersey that your brother wore to start his career, was it kind of like a surreal kind of like pinch me moment seeing your number and that name on that Denver Outlaws jersey again?
Yeah, it's really cool. I've always had a lot of love for the Outlaws. Two of my older siblings, Brennan and Matt, both played for them, and Matt was fortunate enough to go to 3 championship games with them, win 2 of them. So, yeah, I've always loved the Denver Outlaws, and I never made it a mile high for one of those games, but I tuned in for every single one of Matt and Brennan's Outlaws games, and, yeah, it's pretty surreal. So, yeah, I'm happy Coach Sudo traded for me. I ended up playing for Denver. Couldn't be happier.
Me neither. Same.
Kyle?
Yeah, for Logan, you know, like it was mentioned earlier, you know, another 15 save performance for you. How much has it kind of become like a symbiotic relationship? I know in Philly you talked about, you know, you get to be the one yelling at Jesse now, but how much of you and this defense in front of you has it become a symbiotic kind of as one relationship as the weeks have gone on and you guys kind of working as one and as a nice little fluid machine on the back end for this Outlaws defense?
Yeah, I kind of think that starts off the field. You know, everyone on the team's pretty close, and you know, defensively we're sitting together at dinners and stuff like that and doing whatever with each other. So I think off the field, forming those relationships has been important, and you know, on the field, you know, it's going to take a couple games to things to start clicking. And, you know, for me, I try to keep a calm, cool, collected, you know, presence back there. And, you know, sometimes guys get a little heated. I try to keep them cool a little bit. But everyone on the defense has been doing a great job. You know, we're all playing together as one. We're communicating. We're listening to each other. And it's paying dividends. And I kind of let them know what I want to see, and they try to give me shots that I can see every game. And they do that every week. So I give all my props to them.
Any other questions on Zoom?
Yeah, pretty solid crowd tonight. Saturday night game, nightcap. Bleachers still pretty packed. What does it mean to you guys that even in a city like Chicago, which doesn't have a PLL team anymore, that their crowd was still able to get packed out with kids, adults, basically anybody and everybody who wanted to watch some good lacrosse?
We were here early and walked out to the field, and fans were still lining the tunnel. Like, this is one of the best places that I think we've played, and I got, like, my best friend from college is Northwestern girls coach, and married Kelly Amonte. So Scotty hooked me up with a swag bag before, so I got a bunch of purple stuff, which is awesome. But the facilities here are incredible. The people that we've run into from Northwestern were incredible. I think that the crowd was as good of a crowd as I've ever coached in front of. Even though the second game today was a little lighter, they were loud, and there was a lot of pro Denver people out there. And it didn't matter, the fans going through the tunnel, like, how long did it take us to get in here? It was a lot of fun to kind of, like, stop and talk to those guys, and they were so grateful, and just different. It was different than a lot of places. This was incredible.
Yeah, I think it's really cool coming to the really non-hotbed areas on these weekends. Those fans are just, they don't really get much pro lacrosse action ever. So when the PLL shows up and they're in town, they are super passionate. And I went to school in the Midwest, so I saw it firsthand at our games in South Bend how much people love lacrosse in the Midwest. People would come 2 hours from Chicago to all of our games, so I knew it was going to be packed this weekend. And yeah, it's just awesome to see the game growing this much.
Coach, one more for you. We heard earlier today at the Hall of Fame ceremony that Joe Walters told a story about you giving him a helmet during one of your games. Can you talk about what it was like to see him inducted, and do you remember giving him that helmet?
I certainly remember. I remember him being everywhere. So, very passionate family. Dad took him wherever he wanted to go. He was at every Rochester Nighthawks practice. When he wasn't there, everybody was like, "Where's Joe? Where's the little guy?" You know. And but no, I mean, I got to watch him and coach against him in high school, and you know, I knew he was going to do great things at Maryland, and he proved me right. But I mean, that kid loved lacrosse when he was little, and he was around it all the time, and he put himself in positions to be around the best guys that he could be around. So I'm truly happy for him. He had an incredible career.
Thank you all. Enjoy the win.
Thank you.